All right, so this show's called Bluntly Speaking, right? And I think it's aptly for me to. Do you have weed? Can we smoke weed in here? Because it's bluntly speaking. It's played with words.
I don't
I
need
you don't
no
have weed, man. I don't smoke weed. I don't.
neither.
I know people that do, but I don't have a dealer per se. But it's like it's called bluntly speaking, so it feels apt. Like I need a
We
bong
should we
here.
should buy weed for this.
Yeah, we should buy weed. I don't know. We should, or at least I should have put a bong somewhere here in the corner. Make it look like it's like we're smoking and we're having a smoke sesh. Guess the whole part of this, the whole point of the show, or what I came up with the name of it is like it's like we're talking like it's like a smoke sesh. We're high and we're like, oh man, the world, the universe, and life, and all that stuff. So that's why I came up with that name. Thought that'd be kind of cool, but I don't smoke, so I don't know. I don't know the experience. I don't know if you do, but I don't know. I don't know the experience of smoking and having these sessions with like talking about metaphors of life.
Yeah. Like
I don't know.
whenever I have like these kind of conversations, I I get told a lot that um that it seems like I'm high on acid, um, which is so
Okay.
funny because I mean, like I've never tried any drug at all. Um, and it's like the most sober person like talks acid like, so
Okay.
it's so funny. It doesn't make any sense, but yeah.
That's a that was cool because like I don't know. I kind of want that experience to kind of go like super deep into conversations, but I don't know. Maybe one day. Maybe one day I'll eat an edible, but apparently edibles fuck you up really bad, so I'm not ready for that. But I don't know. One day I want to give this name, this title justice by actually doing an actual sesh. But hey, I don't know. We'll see if it
That would be
happens.
like a cool vlog to do actually.
Yeah, I'll be like, hey,
Like
it
compare
could be
your
a
normal
mess.
conversations with your high conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
That could be kind of cool. I don't know. It could be a disaster. It could be horrible. But it could be
Hey,
like,
but you'll decide if you upload it after.
oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Because I could be with whoever I'm talking like 10 minutes, just like looking at the ceiling. I'm like, yeah, and the camera's still rolling. Like, oh my god. But no, the show's bluntly speaking. So yeah, we're not smoking. So hey, but let's continue. Let's start with the show. What's up, everybody? My name is Satyan Sierra, and welcome to another episode of Bluntly Speaking. And if you've been following my show from the beginning, you're like, wait, another episode? I never seen this show before. What are you talking about? Like, well, I did an episode on my other channel that I don't use, but it's still there if you want to check it out. I mean, I don't use it at all. But hey, I welcome you to check it out if you want to. Even subscribe if you want to. I don't use it, but it's on the first episode is on the Seba Show. You can check it out right there. I talk with my friends about conspiracy theories, with different crazy stuff from like Disney's Frozen Head, JFK assassination, the crazy fucking shit. Go check it out. It's a lot of fun. But for this episode, it's interesting because this is how this whole show came up in my head when I was talking to my friend here, which I'll introduce you in a little bit. And we're talking about these topic we're going to talk about in a little bit. And we just got deep into it. We got really deep into it. And I thought, like, man, we should make a podcast about this, talking about these deep topics. I know she also had a different topic we talked about. I forgot to bring it up. I don't know what topic we want to talk about another time.
I remember.
You remember? Okay,
Somehow
but this is
wormholes for some reason.
oh yeah. So this is like the one of these topics we're gonna talk about. This is the one I want to dedicate a whole episode because I think she's very passionate about this stuff, and you will find out a little bit. But the show's called Bluntly Speaking. As I said in the beginning, it's gonna play of words like we're having like a blunt sesh. We're talking about these different things, but we're also bluntly speaking because we're gonna say our words kind of rawly. We're gonna just go into it. We're gonna shoot off the cuff. We're gonna say how we speak in our minds, and we're just gonna do it. So I'm here with my friend who is a writer, poet, activist. I don't know if I forgot something, please let me know. And then, of course, and she's also very deep into this theme, but we're gonna talk about a little bit. It is Koki Pito. How you doing?
Thank you. Thank you.
Good, good. How are you doing today? Everything good?
I'm great. Yeah, it's been a great day. How about you?
It's been pretty good. I mean, I think it'll be much better now. We're gonna talk about this interesting topic I really want to get into right now with you because I think it's gonna be super interesting. And like I said, this topic that we're gonna talk about is controversial for sure. And so I'm just gonna warn you guys from the get go. I mean, we're not gonna offend people. We're not gonna, we're not saying that people that do these things are bad. We're not saying like, oh, if you believe in these stuff, these things are bad. Like, no, it's nothing at all. But we will say some things that might be controversial. You might disagree with for sure. I think a lot of you might disagree with, but just warn you guys, we're gonna go deep into this conversation. We're gonna shoot our opinions about this stuff. So if you disagree, please, I ask you at least if you just write your opinions on why you disagree or why you agree, but respectfully, please. We don't ask you to be disrespectful, go crazy. Like just be part of the discussion, please. If you can do that, please. So the topic that we're gonna talk about today is religion, because he here like the things that the reason we talked about is like many months ago because I noticed that you're very adamant about talking about religion and your stance on religion and stuff like that, which was interesting me. It captivated me. I'm like, oh, like what is she? Okay, so I was gonna ask you questions, then we got really deep into it. I want to bring you here. So I want to ask you first, Cookie.
Mm.
Like, what is your like opinion on religion itself? Like, let people know what your opinions are and why.
Well, I think that first like I need to say my background of religion. So I was born in a Pentecostal family in Puerto Rico. Uh, when I grew up, I um, I grew up wanting to be a pastor in China. So I wanted to be a missionary, and I started learning Chinese.
Oh,
I spent 6 years of my life being a Sunday school teacher since I was 11. So at 11 years old, I was really passionate about um, teaching the Bible, and I took this um, very seriously. Like every single Sunday of my life from 11 years old to 16 years old, I made PowerPoints and Pretsies um, explaining scripture to kids my own age or older. Um, in high school, I was a preacher in this thing called confras, which in Puerto Rico are like um, religious kids gathering for a little uh, preaching session at lunchtime.
mm.
So now, now I am an atheist because what I think of religion is that um, it is abuse, like in some cases. I don't want to say it's abuse, but it is abuse, like in some cases. There's no evidence in my eyes for the existence of God or for the veracity of religious truth. Um, and I think it emerged as like a band-aid for our ego.
okay, okay. You're kind of close to like what I'm thinking about, but okay. Like what else? Like what led you to have the stance that you have right now? And what else is your thoughts on religion?
And what?
Like what else like led you to have this stance on religion, and what are your other
Oh,
opinions on
so what made me change
it?
was reading the Bible. Like if you join a lot of atheist groups that atheists that were first in Christianism, I assure you that the top reason why they're atheists now, if you make a poll on the group, like it will be, well, I read the Bible. That was enough for me to see that something was wrong. Like if you literally read the Bible without trying to make your emotions interpret what it says, something
Yeah.
would it won't work, because that's the thing that with religion, for it to work, you need to let your emotions do the work. But like if you don't let your emotions work, which is what you should do, because if we obviously like if we let ourselves be, like if our actions are dictated by our emotions only, like we're not okay.
No.
um, so yeah, I read the Bible. Of course, like growing up as a Pentecostal, and I don't want to say Pentecostal because kids are born atheists, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I wasn't born a Pentecostal. I was raised in a Pentecostal family, so I was a child of Pentecostal parents. So being a child of Pentecostal parents created trauma, of course. So out of nowhere, I like as you pick the petals of a flower, like I kept taking off the layers of that trauma
Mm-hmm.
thanks to my education. Like, for example, I started elementary school in a Christian school, but for some reason I became really interested in science, and so I fought for uh, changing to another school, which was a magnet school for sciences and math. There I learned science. Then I changed to another magnet school, uh, specialized in sciences and math, and it was a boarding school. So I was separated from my family, and that helped me view things differently, or view how I could take off those layers of trauma. And when I did that, I realized all of the questions I had been suppressing for all those years since I was a child. And I realized I had questions, I had curiosity about the contradictions that I found in Christianism since I was like 6 years old. Um, and finally, the last straw was that I've always been like fascinated by the Second World War, like fascinated in the sense that I love to read about it. So one time I was reading things that were written on the walls of concentration camps, and I read this one thing a Jew wrote, and it was, if there is a God, he would have to beg for my forgiveness.
Mm.
So
Wow. Wow.
at this
Wow.
time, I was 16. I was 16, and that night, I cried my eyes out because I realized I didn't believe in God anymore. That was the night I accepted like that I didn't believe in God anymore.
Were you upset that you like wow like that I don't believe in God anymore, or were you like a relief like all right, this is all this tumbled down, like I can't do this anymore.
So people that have come out of the closet of homosexuality come and who have also come out of the closet of religion have compared the sadness of like revealing a part of yourself that people won't accept, that people you love won't accept, to like both of those instances. Like for um homosexuals, the pain of coming out of the closet to the people that they love and that they won't accept them, it's equal as to atheists coming out of the closet of religion. And that's what I call it, because I do feel it's a closet, because it's part of our identity, which is imposed on us from even before I was born. From even before I was born, what was happening? Um, I was being sung Christian songs from the belly of, like I was in my mother's belly, and my mother would read
Wow.
chapters of the Bible to me. And when I was a baby, I wasn't baptized, but oh, guess what? I was like presented into God, and my family made a promise of not ever like letting me go astray from God. So it's an identity that they impose on us from from as early as they impose on us like our sexual orientation or our gender roles.
Yeah.
So I was devastated. I felt like I was dying emotionally, because that's literally what was happening. Like the entire persona that I created was dictated by religion. It literally was like the person that I was. Sure, like people could say, oh no, there had to be a little bit about you in there. Sure, there was. But are you
Yeah.
telling me that the way they raised me didn't influence like the entire way I am now? Of course it did. So I felt like I was a sinner, even though didn't believe in God. That's not the problem. Even atheists, after leaving the church, we're afraid of going to hell. We don't believe in hell. Like, no, we don't believe in demons. We don't believe in anything supernatural. But that, that fear that remains tells you how strong the trauma is. Like, we know it doesn't, like, we are sure we don't believe in it, but in our subconscious, like, there's trauma that we have to deal with. So I was devastated. I felt like I had lost my identity, my life. Remember, I wanted to be a pastor, and I had dedicated my entire life up to that point to Jesus. I wanted to die for Jesus. Like, my goal in life was to die for Jesus, like literally die for Jesus. In my denomination of Christianity, we loved martyrs. We loved them. So I wanted to be like, when I was a kid, I was like, man, that would be so cool to die for Jesus because he died for me. And that's so fucking messed up. Like for a 6-year-old to like say, can you imagine that? Having a girl, a little cute girl saying, oh, I want to fucking die for Jesus. Like,
yeah, like 6 years old already thinking about dying for someone else. Like, holy shit.
It's amazing the things religion can make you do, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it completely changed my worldview, of course. So, my worldview was shattered. I kept asking myself who I am. How does it feel to not pray every day, 3 times a day? I was used to do that. I was used to reading the Bible every day. I was like, what do I do now that there's not an invisible being in my subconscious? Oh, I gained privacy also. When I realized I didn't believe in God, I was like, oh wait, I have privacy now. There's no invisible being watching me do my stuff. How does that feel? It feels liberating, but at the same time, it's so depressing. Like thinking that, oh, I spent my entire life thinking up to this point, right? I'm still young, but yeah, my entire life up to this point, I spent it thinking that I had to be nice to that invisible being in the corner. So it was a depressing thought, seeing the liberty that I gained that I did not have in my childhood. So yeah, I mean, and I'm not even talking about like the things my family did or said or felt towards me. So when I told my parents, I felt like I was confessing that I killed someone. And I still, I mean, I still don't feel like that, but it still remains that, again, that trauma of feeling like that, of feeling that I did something very, very horrendous and that I deserve to be cooked in an eternal pit of fire. Because that's what they, of course, say to atheists. Like they say, oh, I know you know this, but I just need to tell because God is making me want to tell you that you're gonna burn real hard in if you don't repent. Um, so that was one of the things they said. They said a lot of harsh things that, of course, would make someone in my position feel depressed and lonely. So yeah, that's how I felt when I came out of the closet of religion.
Because I can imagine it's still sometimes in the back of your mind because everything they instill on you for such a young age, it's like it's maybe still like lingering in your mind, like oh my god, like I should repent for what I'm doing.
Yeah,
Like it
and like there are
hard.
still things 2 years later. Um, there are still things that I haven't realized that changed in me, or that, oh shit, I used to do that. Like some weeks ago, I was thinking about like m- about the money that I spent in the church, like my how do you call diezmos? Thieving,
Uh,
tithing.
whatever that is. I don't know.
We'll put the
Diezmos.
word. But
Yeah, I'll look it up.
the diezmos, the 10% you give to the church for every single um bunch of money you earn or get. I was thinking about that. I was like, where's my money right now? Like
I think it's the word is typhies,
tithing. I think it's tithing.
typing,
I'm
something
not
like that.
I'm not sure. But yeah. So I was thinking about that. And remember, this was in my childhood and my adolescence when I gave the 10% of my earnings. I didn't have a job. I was a fucking child. Okay.
Hmm.
So basically, the church was stealing my money when I was a kid, and I
Yeah.
didn't have a way to earn money. And you know what? I wanted to buy books. I wanted to buy philosophy books, and I was
Hmm.
spending my not earnings, but like, how do you say ahorros?
Hey, but your savings and all that stuff.
Savings. My savings. A 10-year-old that wanted to buy books, like she has to give her savings or the 10% of her savings every single month to the church because her family makes her feel like a sinner if she doesn't do that. It's it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
So I was asking myself, where's my money now? You know, where is it being used now?
Wow.
And
Yeah.
it's sad. You know, there are people that actually like I don't know the name of the project, but people that ran away from religion wanted to like find some lawyers that help them gain all of their tithings back from the church they were in.
Mhm.
And they became like famous for a little while because like people were like, oh no, you can't steal from the church. But they were like, oh no, the church stole from us. So it was really funny, but they didn't win because of course we live in a religious country and
Yeah.
people don't want to accept that. People like in America, of course, in the United States, and you say
Hmm.
that and they're like, no, no, we're free. We're free.
Ugh.
Sure. Sure.
Oh, it's,
I still go to public schools. I work in public schools. I still go there and I find, what do I find? I find banners that say God bless America. And of
mm,
course they're referring to the Christian God. What about the other thousands of gods that
yeah.
citizens here worship? Where's the freedom in that? I don't know. What about the Pledge of Allegiance that students have to make every single day
Hmm.
as like some weird kind of brainwashing? I don't know.
Oh yeah. Like
I get,
indoctrination shit.
yeah, I get scared every time. Like I hate. I love mornings. Don't get me wrong, but that time of the morning, every single day, it makes me weirded out, especially for the kids that don't identify as Americans.
Hmm.
So weird. Um,
Yeah, it's strange to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Can you
I
imagine
don't
that
know.
us doing that in Puerto Rico? Like, no. And
Nah.
like we are so proud of being Puerto Rican, right? But
Hmm.
we don't do that. We don't.
No. Although, like in Catholic school, like 'cause I was in Catholic high school, like every morning it was like doing the prayers, like
Sure. And
Marias, all that shit.
guess what? Guess what? That was a
Fuck.
Catholic school. That was a religious school. But we see
Yeah.
that in public non-religious schools. Do you see
Mhm.
the problem there? Do
Mhm.
you? You did that in Puerto Rico in a religious school. But that same thing, mentioning God and everything every single day as a prayer, we here in the US, in the mainland, we do that in non-religious public schools.
It's strange. Yeah.
It's
And let me
so
ask you this: like, what
it,
do you, like, what do you think of this concept of religious schools? Because like, okay, if you want to like focus your faith and belief while you're studying and whatever in your school system, okay, that's I guess that's kind of cool. But at the same time, it's just weird. Like a whole school is focused on this one religion, and you're gonna like, I don't care if you didn't even believe it, you're gonna believe it now. I'm like, fuck. Like that's a big factor that 4 years in that high school was like force that shit down my throat. I was like, I don't care about this shit anymore. I don't really want the thing because like my stance on it is like I don't know if I can say like I'm full atheist, but there's a lot of things I'm like I kind of lean towards like I don't know about this or maybe it's not.
oh, we have to talk about that, like labels. Being
Mm-hmm.
atheist, being a full-on atheist. That's
I don't know because I consider myself like somebody's like I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's out there. I lean towards more like I don't think there's some a force of nature omnipotence thing, but there could be. And I would love to hopefully one day, like when we die, we're not stuck in the ground in a black void of nothingness. I hope like there's something I can fucking do with the rest of my life. Probably not. Probably we're just gonna be in the ground and we're just gonna be there and it sucks. But I'm like I'm open to like if there's something like tangible and real, but I kind of lean towards like I don't know. I think a lot of it just unfortunately not real. That's for me. But I'm not like that's my full stance on it. I'm just like I don't know. I'm going with it. I would love to say like there's something real out there, but I don't know. So far right now, I don't think so. but yeah, talk to me about the labels part. Like what do you want to say about that?
well, how do you call yourself? If like people tell you, hey, what do you define yourself in like a religion?
It's weird. It's like some people say like, oh, you could be agnostic, but like I don't know if I am agnostic. I'm like somewhere in between two, but I know I'm not religious at all. That's where I'm not. I'm not in religious
No,
in
you're not. You're
anything.
not religious. You're not. If
No.
you're not in a religion, you're not religious. Period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just not religious. I just because that's the thing. Like back in school, like just like you, like of course in Puerto Rico, because oh my god, like if we're gonna talk about the U.S. being all about religion, then Puerto Rico's like 10 times like oh you're gonna learn about religion anywhere you go. It's in our government. It's everywhere. Like church and the state, church and state. Oh, they're one the same. They're not separately. Like what the fuck? That's not a thing in Puerto Rico. They're like we're the same thing. It's
Like the
very fucked
meme that
up.
says like find the difference between this picture and this picture. They're like
No, they're the same. It's like, oh, are they separate? No, they're together. It's should they be? No, but they don't give a fuck. Like they're just like we're all the same. We're gonna conflict our views together and we're gonna fuck you up if you don't even believe it. Like, that's really fucked up. But yeah, like for as a young age, it's like yeah, I was thinking like yeah, God is real. Like this is all it's great and whatever. But I wasn't like religious at all. I was like what's the word? Maybe yeah, a casual religious person. Like, okay, cool. I can still do my own normal things, but I was thinking about this guy. He's looking at me everywhere I am, even if I'm taking a shower. He's looking at me, man. But after all these years of like high school, just being like the typical nun school, they're there. You gotta almost every month. You gotta be like 3 hours or 4 hours in an auditorium with a whole like what's he send me en inglés? Uh,
mass.
a mass and everything. Like seriously, there were mornings like we're not in class. We're just sitting there in auditorium for 3 hours doing a whole mass,
Hey,
a
Yeah.
whole event. We sometimes it was cool because like, oh shit, we're skipping class to do this shit. This is awesome. Like, it's
Yeah.
kind of boring, but fuck it. You know, I'm not in school. That's awesome. But it's like, it's all that stuff just kind of kept going and going. I'm to the point where I was just like, just don't care. I don't kind of feel more relief. I feel like super relief. I don't have to have all this weight of like, oh my god, what about this? What about that? It's like I'm the person that believes that if you're just a good person, you know, if you're good for somebody, then you'll get something good back. Sometimes not all the time, you know. Some people don't reciprocate that, but that's fine. But I just feel like if you're just a good person all around and just have some good values that you practice, then you're good. You're made in life. You're set. But I don't know. It's just religion is weird. Religion is weird. I I don't know. I don't know if you agree with this idea, but I think you just say it in the beginning because I was like, oh, that's kind of the line where I was thinking about like I think religion was made by whoever. I don't know, some guy that was like, hey, we should control the masses somehow. You know, we should like we want to control them. We want to put order into this. Like we should make this being, this omnipotent being that like he created you, he put you in this world. Like you gotta be thankful for that. You gotta be grateful for having like life. So you gotta do all these things that he wants you to do, all these rules, but it's really for the church to kind of control you. Like, oh, okay, so if God tells you to do this, you'll do it, right? You know, I think it's just like the more to like control them, you know, put them order. And I still think that's what's up. I don't know. Maybe the church nowadays they do believe there's something real God, but I think from the beginning, well, I think even before, you know, because maybe like people like tribes really actually believe there's actually, you know, gods because of weather and all the stuff like that. But I think later on, once people were kind of, I don't know, seeing more like what's going on in the world, people are like, okay, all right, we can use this religion concept and control people. You know, we'll create this Jesus character. Apparently, he was real, right? Am I correct? He was a real person, right?
I mean, that's your decision to make.
I don't know. That's what they say. That's why obviously historically they say he was real. Like, was he this omnipotent being who's also the son of God, but he's also God, but he's also a bird? He's like, what the fuck is he? I don't know what. I don't know. It's like at school they try to explain this shit to me. They're like, okay, so he's
But he's
God.
also all of these things.
Yeah, he's God, but he's also the Son of God. But he's at the same time he's God. He's also the Holy Spirit. I'm like, what? I was like, okay, this doesn't completely make any sense to me, but okay. But I don't know. I think all these things were kind of just like control the masses. I think it was just to put instill order for their personal gain for whatever it is to control, just to control people. I think. I don't know. What do you think? Like, where did religion in your mind came from, and what is this all about?
Okay, so by the way, we have to turn back to the label things after we talk about this because we didn't finish it.
Oh, okay. I told you we are gonna go like to different stuff.
Yeah.
But let me just tell me.
So right now, I am a firm proponent of the idea that today religious leaders are atheists themselves. They don't believe, of course. They don't know. That's I mean, I'm not trying to generalize. Like there can be religious leaders that genuinely believe the things they preach, but there are a lot of religious leaders that don't. They're atheists. So you said that at the beginning, there were people that actually believed. Yeah, I agree. I know people that genuinely believe, um, and it's fascinating. Like from a sociological perspective, it's amazing, and I love to spend time with them to see how their mind works because it works in a whole different world universe than mine does, for example, or that like people that don't believe like how their brain works. And I'm not putting a value to which brain working is better. I'm not saying that we have a value over another or not. It's just a fact that we think differently. So for me, it's just it's as it's amazing when you look into a microscope, because it's a whole different world for you. The microscopic world, it's a whole different world for me to now sit down with a person that genuinely believes what they say they believe in. It's like looking into a microscope. It's beautiful, I think, when they don't hurt others, of course. But yeah, at the beginning, there were people that genuinely believed. I think that as time progresses, less people in religion genuinely believe. They're just there because of the band-aid for the ego. Their whole life would crash down like mine did if they actually accepted that they don't believe in God, but it wouldn't stop there. They would probably do something like commit suicide or something. Okay. You know, like I don't want to say I went into depression after coming out of the closet of religion, because I wasn't diagnosed with it. I didn't go to a psychologist or a therapist after I realized I didn't believe in God. So I had to deal with that on my own. But knowing the symptoms of depression now, that I didn't know back then, I probably had it. And I'm not saying I did, because I don't want to self-diagnose myself. I probably I did. So that's why people don't like to accept it. It's uncomfortable as fuck. It's like a needle in your, I don't know, in your big toe or something, you know. So how it originated, I was talking about this with one of my sociology professors. He's amazing, by the way. Like, people that are watching, you should check out his books of like about religion. His name is Dr. Ryan Cragen. He was a Mormon, and he's now an atheist. It's
Wow.
amazing. Like, he's so intelligent. You should definitely check out his books.
Yeah.
So we were talking about this, and I had read this book called The God Part of the Brain by Matthew Alper. Matthew Alper is a proponent of the theory that there is a gene to believe in God, like for believing in God, that evolution, natural selection made. When I talked about suicide, that if people accepted they didn't believe in God, they would commit suicide. Just imagine, like right now we have so many distractions that can make not believing in God more comfortable, right? We have science. We know why the planets move, like the stars move. We know why it rains. We know how eclipses work. We know how that works now. We have distractions. We have books. We have entertainment to not think about how all of existence doesn't make any sense and how it seems a joke or a simulation. We have distractions. But we didn't have distractions at the time of the Taínos, for example. We didn't. So what would happen if these people actually didn't believe in anything? They wouldn't understand what would their life like be for. I mean, there are still people. I don't understand what my life is for. Do you? You're lying to yourself if you say yes, because no one does. Of course, you can create your own purpose, but if you say that you know, like, as you know that I'm talking to you right now, or as you know that 2 + 2 is 4, that you know what your life is for, you don't. You're a fucking liar. So if these people accepted like or didn't see anything supernatural, they would say like, why be here? Like it doesn't make any sense. And still in this age, there are people that get out of religion and they don't see any sense. They commit suicide. If there are still people that commit suicide because of that right now, imagine what would have happened at the time that we weren't Homo sapiens, or like at the time that we didn't have all of these resources to explain things, we
It's
would have freaked the fuck out. We wouldn't have reproduced as much as we did to get to this point. We wouldn't have we wouldn't have wanted to, we wouldn't have been alive to
Mm.
be here. We wouldn't have built houses. We wouldn't have developed agriculture. We wouldn't have made art. We would have probably committed like a community. I How do you say it? Like it's like a communal suicide or something.
Hmm.
Like what happened with the Kool-Aid people in Jonestown, I think. Do you know about that? No. Okay.
Oh.
Oh yeah, which what happened with the Kool-Aid people? They all drank Kool-Aid with cyanide, and they committed
Oh.
suicide like all together. It was a cult. Yeah. So probably people would have done that because they wouldn't have seen the purpose. And if
Mm.
now we have so much entertainment for to get our mind off things, and there are still people that commit suicide because they don't see sense. Imagine the amount of suicide there could be when people didn't even know how to explain rain or the stars moving. They would freak out. They would freak the fuck out. I still freak out when like I just watch the stars because like everything seems like a joke. I mean,
Hmm.
when
Yeah.
when you really like some days ago I was sitting by a river, and this is important because water makes you like think differently. If you sit by like earth and nothing more, you're gonna think differently than if you sit like close to a body of water. I don't know if you've noticed that, but yeah. So I was close by a body of water, a river, and you know the like the meditative state that I was in made me feel like I was in a painting, like literally as if all I was seeing was a fucking painting. I was like, wait, and I freaked out, but at the same time, it was beautiful because you know this. Like I call those moments little jokes. The universe plays on me.
Hmm.
Um, so I was like, nice one. I just love how it all of this doesn't make any sense. It makes me excited. It makes me happy. It makes me smile. So I'm grateful that as an atheist, I can find happiness in not understanding things. Um,
Hmm.
but guess what? Most people are not like that, and people would they would freak out if they accepted they didn't believe in God.
No.
I freaked out, but you know, like with healing, mental, emotional healing, I came up to this point of being okay with it not making sense and laughing about it.
Oh, okay. I just came up with like a lot of questions like right now because dude, because existence by itself is just a
It's a joke. Like,
strange
yeah,
concept. Like, how does all came to be? Why are we here?
yeah,
How do we come here? I don't. It's so weird. It's so weird. And this is like a different topic, but like like
yeah.
what's the other life out there? Like, are we alone? Why are we alone? Why are we selected to be here and not any other planet has the same amount of population or species that we are? It just anything. Even though, like you said, like the ocean by itself, like that's like another world out there. Like, how is that there? It's weird. But did you think in the beginning of our, even, I guess even before civilization, but I guess society, like even way back when the world began, like, do you think if people did not have these questions of like, oh, what is rain, what is the sun, do you think we would have not progressed? We would have died like a million years ago if we didn't have these questions? Is like, what if no one asked like, oh, is the rain a god? What if no one asked that? Would we have would we have died a long time ago, not progressed because we didn't have these discoveries or these concepts in our mind, or what do you think? Would we have not progressed like where we are right now? If that's a good thing, I don't know.
I have to.
I don't know. I don't know. I just dropped the
No,
bomb in
no,
there.
I know what's the answer, but I want to like I just realized I left something like from the other answer I was giving off. Like I didn't say the entire answer, so now
Go, go ahead.
I'm having
Go
to.
ahead.
No, wait. I'm gonna give this answer first.
We have a lot of things.
This happens a
I
lot in
told
my
you.
conversations. I hate it. I hate it, but I love it at the same time. Um, so I don't want to say that I like religion because it has made us come up to this point. Because I mean, where are we at this point? It's fucking disgusting, honestly.
Oh.
But
Hmm.
we're killing the earth. We're in war with the same people. Like
Hmm.
the people that were sufferers of genocide are committing genocide right now.
Yep.
We are killing Pachamama, Mother Earth. We are governed still by religion for some reason.
Hmm.
um,
Colonizing people.
I don't, like there's nothing to admire. I think. I mean, sure, there are things to admire from who
Of
we are
course.
right now, but we could be like, I
So much
admire,
better.
I admire persons, not society, and
Hmm.
I wish I could admire society right now instead of people. Because if I don't admire, like, if I don't admire society at one point, it's because we are not um, doing what we should do.
Hmm.
Um,
I agree.
so, thing is, so I was saying that evolution and natural selection created this part of our brain that said like, oh, invent something that makes you
Hmm.
feel connected with something out of, like bigger than yourself, so you'll feel comfortable, so that you won't kill yourself. Religion might be might have been the answer to keep living in an era where we didn't have information, so we made it up ourselves.
Hmm. Okay.
Think about a child who doesn't have any friends. What is that child gonna do with their mind?
That's true. Because that was the question I want to ask you. Like imagine you have a child and you don't instill anything like no religion, not even atheist too. You just let that person be, let them explore stuff. Like I wonder how that person will turn out. Like would they learn about religion somewhere else and like oh what
Oh,
is
actually,
this?
the son for my professor, he raised him like that, and I can tell you a funny story about him later.
Yeah,
Um,
like tell me
but
because I want to know. This is interesting. Like I want to like how would they grow? Like would they decide to be religious or they just like I don't know. It's just me. I don't
yeah.
know. Like it's interesting.
Mhm. Um, but to answer the question that you asked me, what would you think if a child didn't have friends at all? What are the what's the usual thing children do when they're alone
It's
with their minds?
it's just
What do they create?
yeah.
What do they create?
They
Like,
create stuff in their minds with
yeah, imaginary
things.
friends, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Imaginary friends. I mean,
Mm,
when they
that's
don't have
cool.
when they don't have what they want to have, like friends, they make up imaginary friends. When you have friends that you can touch and understand that, okay, so real friends are these people.
Yeah.
You won't make up imaginary friends, right?
Hmm.
So that's the
Okay.
thing. As children, make up imaginary friends because they need them for their development.
Hmm.
Humanity invented gods because they needed them for their development. But what does a child do when they know how friendships work? They stop believing in imaginary friends.
Hmm.
So as a society, as a species, we should be at that point, but we are not. We're not. We think that we actually need, or not even need, we actually believe there are these magical supernatural beings, sky daddies in the sky, um, um, But yeah, we're at that point where we should go like, hey, we needed this. We definitely needed this at what point. Do we now? No. And it doesn't even have to do with the unanswered questions that we have. Like people might say, oh, we still have unanswered questions, so we need God. No. No, we
Mm.
don't. Um, maybe you need God, but I don't.
No.
I don't. Um,
That's
so
interesting.
yeah.
So interesting.
Um, so the thing is, I can say, hey, I'm grateful for religion because I think that if it weren't for religion, we maybe probably wouldn't have survived much. I mean, imagine
Hmm.
like these people that woke up to, I don't know, cultivate maize and potatoes
Hmm.
because they were actually gods. For example, Tainos, like their semis, the gods that they made from, um, they put them like they when they planted yuca, they put their semis with the yuca. They literally had to put the semis in what they did their entire lives so that it could make sense. So imagine if these people didn't have semis, how would they think vegetables would grow? They wouldn't even think vegetables would grow if they didn't plant the seeds with the semillas.
True.
They wouldn't have they would have exploded right there in that
Yeah.
moment. So I'm grateful for religion in that sense. I'm grateful for religion because it's beautiful. It's beautiful the way um it explains things. I mean, when people ask me for book recommendations, I obviously tell them the Bible. Yeah, sure. It's one of my favorite books. It's beautiful. Is it a good source for morality? No, it's not.
Oh.
Um, which people think it is, right? Because Christians find it as the most perfect, valuable, important book ever, and it is their moral compass. It literally is their moral compass. That's why we are so fucked up right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, because like God couldn't put in the 10 Commandments like, oh, don't rape, or hey, don't
Hmm.
impose other religious doctrines on people. No, he couldn't do that. So
This is,
definitely
I don't
it's
know.
like the most perfect morality right there. Anyways, uh or he couldn't put like, oh, don't enslave people,
No.
don't slave. No, he actually supported that shit. He was like,
Yeah.
hey, it's okay if you want to have slaves. Just remember that if you beat them, because you can't beat them, you can beat them,
Hmm.
but if you beat
Yeah.
them, just remember to like not beat them too hard that they can't um get up from the floor from their own pool of blood 3
Hmm.
days later.
That's why I don't think like, and that's cool if you think like the Bible is beautiful. I don't like that book at
I mean,
all. There's like,
if you like literature, you're gonna find it beautiful as a fiction book.
I mean, there's some stories there. It's just, I guess I'm leaning more to your point of like, I just don't like that book because people use it as a morality
Of
center. Like,
course.
oh, this is what I should be. Like, dude, like in the Old Testament, God is a piece of shit. God is an asshole. God is like, I'm mad. I'm a whiny bitch. I'm mad. I'm gonna kill you guys. I'm gonna flood everything. Like, man, you're a bitch. I mean, fuck you.
And
And
he's
then this,
supposed to be like the most omnipotent, like powerful, non-human being, and ends up acting as a
yeah,
human child, as a human
so
baby.
bratty. It's like,
Yeah, it's
god
like what?
damn.
What?
It's like,
Why
and
do
it's like, and maybe reading that could be a cool piece of literature in some stories, because some stories are pretty fucked up. But in some way, it could be a cool literature like Greek mythology. Like some of those gods, or all of them, are really fucked up. They rape, they kill, all that shit. But reading it, knowing it's fiction, I was like, okay, this is like a cool source of literature we can get. But people use the Bible as something like some morality based center, like, oh, this is how we should be. because it's here. And I think a lot of the stories are just made by people, like the slavery stuff. I don't know. Maybe people like, if we write that God said slavery is cool, then slavery is cool. It's like, I don't know, so whatever God said. It's just that book. And I do agree with what you say. Like, I think religion can be beautiful in a way because there's a sense of a connection. But I like more the spirituality part. Like with Buddhism and
Oh,
Hinduism, all that stuff. Like,
I like to say that spirituality is just poetic science. I'm gonna explain what that means. Like,
okay,
after I answer the three things that we haven't.
I know. It's just like there's a lot of stuff to cover.
Yeah.
This just came, but I don't know. I like the spiritual. The connection can be beautiful because I heard people like they have these beautiful connections. Like, that's awesome. That's sweet. I'm all for that. I love that stuff. It's all the other stuff around it. I'm just like, don't. I think us as people, I don't know, because I want to ask this question out in the air. We don't have to answer this question, but like, will we all turn out better without religion ever existing? Because think about history. Think about how people just slaughter people because of religion, locking people in gas chambers for religion, or doing, all these other different things. Like, we're gonna murder the plague and all shit. It's like, oh, it's all because of God. All because of this. We gotta kill you because of God. I'm like, if we didn't have this concept, we would have. Maybe we still gotta kill each other somehow because jealousy, greed, all these primal feelings we have are fucking terrible as human beings. But maybe we would have. That's just a slightly better. I don't know, because maybe you don't have all these. It's weird. Like, people's like, they kill because of this belief. It's, you can believe and stuff, whatever, and that's awesome. But all these things are like, oh, I'm gonna kill you because God told me to do it. I just find that to be like absurd. Like, what? Like, this person concept or whatever told you to do this. It's like me saying I'm gonna kill because I believe in Spider-Man. I'm like, boom. I'm like, what? I don't know. It's so absurd. Like, people doing all these things because, oh, this is God. This God told me this, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, I don't know. What are you gonna say? I'm just like,
So I mean,
I'm losing everything.
that's the extreme of what I say religion is abused like. That's why I don't, and I didn't understand because Dr. Cragen was the one that like I used to think that religion was abuse. Um, but he was like, no, it's abuse like. It can't be abuse like, but it's not abuse. There are like there's a whole spectrum of religion, and that's why I say it's beautiful. Do I find tourists beautiful? Of course not. I wish they would never have had existed, and I wish, you know what I wish. It's I'm a rational person, of course. I wouldn't like. I don't admire them, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I see Buddhists in their temples, in meditation, and I find that shit beautiful. Um, is Buddhism abuse? Of course not. It's my favorite religion, actually, and
Mm-hmm.
there are so many people that say it's not a religion; it's a philosophical way of life. There are so many definitions of religion, and we can talk about that if you want. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
is religion? What is spirituality? What is a philosophical view of life? What's the difference? But never mind.
We
We have
could, we
so
could.
many things to talk about. But
We can touch on that
yeah, like
quickly.
that's the thing about this spectrum. There's a spectrum in uh, religion. So when I say it's beautiful, I talk about the things that are actually beautiful, not the bad things, and not the, hey, there's a sky daddy watching me, I don't know, like get undressed or getting showered or having sex. Like that's fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
But these type of things in religion where you get caught up in religious music that talks about how amazing creation is, um,
Mm-hmm.
that makes Christmas maybe or like holidays seem a little bit warmer, or that makes you wonder or admire a butterfly in a garden because, oh,
Mm-hmm.
this being that is greater than me made this for me. that
Mhm.
is beautiful, I think. And
Yeah, I
it
agree.
was amazing when you actually believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing because I believed in it, and I was in a fucking cloud, you know, as a child. I was in a cloud thinking that God made all this for me. And oh, so nice that, you know, I'm not blind, not like other people. I'm not blind. I can see, at least, like, I can see the creation God made for me, which is fucking dumb because, like, if you say, oh, thank God for my eyes, for my hands, what about the other people that God didn't give them eyes or hands? It's so,
Yeah.
like, wait, I'm not even saying my whole list of arguments for the non-existence of God, but you know, it's one of them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so what are the other things that we haven't covered? You said like, oh, what would happen with a kid if like they grew up atheist and if they
Or or
weren't
just
like,
or just growing up with like no instilled viewpoints, because like
okay,
would that be interesting if I as a parent do not instill, okay, you got to believe in this, unless it's like the basic values, like be a good person, don't hurt people, stuff like that. But other than that, if I just let the kid explore, like if they want to if they even want to explore religion or whatever, how would they turn, how would they grow as a person? Like would they just find religion on their own through different people, different channels, or would they not even? I don't know, but what would happen to that person? What would happen to that child? I think it's interesting. Like, what would you think if you don't instill any religious viewpoint, or not even atheist point? You just let him be. How do you think would they turn out?
um, I definitely do not. I don't know. Um, I don't know if I definitely know they wouldn't think it would be moral to do anything at all. Like that's one theistic argument for the existence of God. Like, oh, if you don't believe in God, then you would believe that everything is moral. Like you wouldn't have a moral compass, which is stupid because hey, prisons are full of religious people, not atheists.
Mm-hmm.
But like I wouldn't. I know the child wouldn't like think that it would be awesome and cool to go around bullying, killing animals, people. You know, I don't think that. But like apart from that, I don't know. I definitely do not know.
Oh,
Um, but my professor in one of his books, he tells a story about his little kid. Um, so according to what I have understood about him, he didn't impose like his atheism because atheism isn't even like a set of beliefs. It's actually the opposite. It's the absence of beliefs.
mm,
So he didn't impose any of that, and of course he teaches him about you know whatever he asks. But one time they were watching Rio, the movie about the birds,
yeah.
the birds.
Mm-hmm.
So you know the like Jesus Christ statue in Brazil.
Yeah.
Um, so the little kid saw him and was like, "Oh, Dad, who's that? Who's that?"
Mm.
Um, and as like a smart person that he goes, "Oh, it's Bob. It's Bob."
Mm.
Because he wanted to know exactly what you want to know. He wanted to know, hey, is there a correlation in our brain that like if a child sees Jesus, would they think that hey, I see like such a beautiful figure in Jesus. Like Jesus has to be like something because I don't know, like the image of him speaks to me in a way that's what theists would like Christian theists would say would happen, right? I mean, you see news like that all the time. Like, oh, this person saw this like face in a piece of bread.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was Jesus. It was like,
Yeah.
or oh, it was the Virgin Mary, or
Yeah.
this figure in a tree.
Or in the sky, the cloud. That was Jesus
or
looking
in the
at you.
sky, or in a, I don't know, in like un charquito de agua or something. Um,
Yeah.
he
I've
can
seen
now
that
represent
before.
himself to all of the people so that we can be fucking finally like we could be in this on the same page. No, he has to
Mhm.
appear on, I don't know, like Karen's piece of bread. Um, but but it didn't happen with this little kid. It was like, oh, Barbario. Why did he say Barbario? It's because he wanted to say Bob from Rio, the movie.
Mhm.
But instead, as a little kid, he said Barbario. So one time he says in the book, like when they went to a family reunion, uh, there were images of Jesus. And the little kid was like, oh, that's Barbario. That's Barbario. So yeah, like it's a fun story about what would happen if like a child were presented with the image of a religious figure. They
Hmm.
would think it's probably a figure from a movie or something.
That's interesting. I want. If I ever have a child, I would like to maybe do that. Maybe I don't want to. I don't want to instill any religious viewpoints or others. I just want to let them be. And we'll say, like, I would love them to turn out to be. I think they will be as great human beings. Son or daughter, if you're watching this, go do your homework. What are you doing? Don't watch this podcast. What are you doing? Go away. But yeah, I don't know. I would love. I don't know. I want to see like how would that be in my own mind. I think they could turn out to be great people, but I don't know. It all depends. Like I don't know, there could be so many factors in what they find around their lives, like,
Definitely.
out of my reach. So it's like I don't know. Whatever happens, happens. But I don't want to be the person or the influence that tells, like, okay, you got to believe in this and that, and like like almost every parent or grandparent or every parent in every generation has done. I want to be. I don't want to do that. I want to be something different. I want to be like, hey, you know what? Explore the world and find these connections if you want to, because I want to reiterate, like, religion can be beautiful. I think there's a lot of beautiful things in religion, like that's connection that you can have, these moments of serene and peace and just being alone with this presence or whoever thing can be beautiful. Some things, like, I don't know, even the architecture is beautiful. I don't know, I've seen some churches, I'm like, I mean, just being here, the music is like, it gives you a feeling, gives you like, wow, like something powerful you feel. But there's a lot of ugly stuff, but there's some beautiful stuff. So I'm not saying like it's an absolute, it's everything is terrible. I was just saying, like, a lot of it is shit. It's why we are right where we are right now. The world is terrible, mostly, or in part, it's fucking religion. I'm like, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted, like, how things are going, and things have been because of religion. And
Yeah.
isn't it weird, like the concept of this being created you, and they also want to run your life? Like, why should you let me run your life? Like, I didn't ask to be created. I'm here, so why can't I just do? I'm grateful you gave me life, but why can't I just do whatever the hell I want to do? That
I mean, say that
is
to parents. Don't parents do that? Exactly that.
exactly.
That's why I'm an anti-natalist, honestly. But that's a whole other philosophical
Mm-hmm.
topic. Like, why should we stop having kids? Why should we stop reproducing ourselves? Because um the idea of creating conscious beings is creepy. Like, when you actually think about it, when you think about uh the idea, I mean, it's not creepy to bring conscious beings into life. It's creepy, the idea that you can't ask those conscious beings if they want to be born.
Yeah, yeah, because that's true. Because, like, will our children even want to be
Yeah.
here?
So
I
that's a
don't
whole
know.
other topic. Like, I could be
Yeah.
explaining what I think about antinatalism for hours on end, and I could be called a like such a horrible person, an immoral person because of the things that I think about. analytism and what suicide has to do with that, because it has to do with that. But yeah, that could be on another
Oh no, we're already probably deplorable people to a lot of people who've seen this
yeah,
podcast already. They're like, wow, these people are heathens, man. They just like clean
going to
themselves. Yeah, they should bathe themselves 3 times each day. They're horrible people. Well, what can we say? But I wanted you to bring up again, like, because you wanted to bring up the topic of the labels part. Like,
yeah, but
what
wait, let me think what you said. Okay, the art. That's one of the things that I'm grateful for in religion. The art,
Mhm.
like the literature. Again, the Bible is such a great piece of literature, fiction. And I see beauty in that definitely. And in the music, of course, in the paintings, architecture, there are even like, attire that was made uh because of religion. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so turning back to labels, you don't know what you are, but that's the thing. Like when it comes to religion, talking about it in like from a philosophical perspective, there's no such thing as not having a label, even if you don't recognize it within yourself, even if you don't label yourself as such. Philosophically speaking, you do have a label. If you have a religion, if you are in a religion, even if you don't believe in it, you are religious.
Mm.
If you are in a spiritual path, even if you don't believe in it, you are spiritual. Now, what happens if you believe in it? You are a theist. You're a theist. A theist is a person that believes in a supernatural being, i.e., God.
Mhm.
So, what I said, that you could be in a religion and in a spiritual path without believing in it. You could be just practicing it. And if you don't believe in it, you are an atheist. An atheist is a person who doesn't believe in a supernatural being, i.e., a god. So
Mhm.
you literally can be a religious atheist or a spiritual atheist, okay?
Mm.
You can. Like, there are people that still, for example, I do certain things that, like, people might say, oh, that's spiritual. That's definitely spiritual. I don't say it's spiritual because I know it's not spiritual. Like what I told you about spirituality is like poetic science. That's the thing that, like, if I practice science, for example, meditation is science. It's not spiritual. Like, shut up. No, it's not. um so if I do meditation and if I sit like with the mudras and all of this, like, people are gonna say, no, you can't say you're an atheist, or you can't say you're not spiritual because you're doing that, which is what yogis do. Shut up. Like, no, I'm not spiritual. I'm just doing what science has proven is good for your brain. I'm feeding my brain just as I feed my body. Is feeding my body spiritual? No, it's fucking it's biology. It's biology. It's literally biology. But that's why I say spirituality is like poetic science, because it makes science and, like, boom, it's so pretty, it's so cute, it's so attractive, and it's so magical, and it's so mystical. When in reality, it's just science. Um, and we can talk about the witch culture. Oh my god, like, I have found on social media. So, like, there's this boom of witches. Like, I don't know if you've
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
I've seen that, and that's
I would
cool.
like to talk to one of those persons, because there are men in it too, of course. And talk about them, how they think about it if I say, like, oh, it's just poetic science. Um,
Hmm.
but
That could be interesting.
yeah, because the things that they do, there are a lot of things that, okay, sure, they're not science at all. Like, you can make a money jar, like a money spell jar, and you can put like ginger and oregano leaves in it and glitter, and and like say a prayer or something for Pachamama, which is Mother Earth. That's not science, of course. That's just a jar with ginger and oregano and a prayer in it. But there are things that actually they do, and they're science, like, for example, meditation or spending time in nature. Oh, you want to do magic, then spend time in nature. You're gonna be a witch, bro. Like spending time in nature is literally the biological way to have a clear mind. It's not magic, it's just biology. So there are a lot of things that these poetic scientists call magic, and I don't like. I mean, sure, like I don't want to criticize it. I just want to bring a lot like information about it. You know, like
Mhm.
I don't want to criticize something if people don't hurt others. Like, of course, I wish the entire earth would be witches,
Yeah.
as witches define themselves nowadays,
Mhm.
compared to terrorists. I would love that shit.
Ah,
But
me too.
I don't criticize them, but I have to tell the world that what I think. What that's why we have free speech, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, I think they're poetic scientists and don't even know it. Like they don't even know it.
Interesting.
So labels, yeah. Um, so
What's my label? What would you think is my label?
me right
Somebody who
now,
doesn't know.
do
Yeah.
you have a god? Do you have a
Like,
god? Like, do you follow a god?
it's interesting because sometimes like I think about the Christian God. Sometimes I think about that. Sometimes I even think like, oh, like I don't like could you said in the beginning like I don't want to go to hell. Like what if I didn't believe in like oh well I'm fucked. Like
Oh, fuck.
sometimes I think about those concepts, but at the same time just like I don't know, maybe it's like rebellious or something, but it's just I just don't want to be in those beliefs. I don't want to be surrounded by any of that shit. I just want to live by my own code of like just being a good person, just spread love and kindness to people and teach, equality, all that stuff, and humility, all that stuff. It's like that. But sometimes I do think of a God, sometimes I think of a God, but it's like at the same time, it's like I don't know, I'm just doing myself. I'm just being me. So it's weird. It's like I have all these different things in my head. I don't have any a certain. I can't tell you like yeah I believe in this or I don't believe. It's difficult.
But you currently do not have a god that you actually believe in and that you follow.
No, not, well I'm not saying like oh I'm doing this for God or I'm talking to God. No, I'm just it's like I'm thinking like maybe there's like that, but I'm doing this because of me. I'm not doing this because I'm following someone else. Like no, or a higher being. Like no, I don't think so.
Yeah, but the question is, do you live believing in a specific god and following the rules of a god?
I don't think so.
No, you don't.
I don't think so.
You don't wake up in the morning and say like, oh, thank X God because I'm alive.
No,
You don't do that.
no.
Therefore, you live as an atheist. You're living life as an atheist because you don't have religion in your life. You don't have religion being an important role in your life. You're an
Mhm.
atheist. Now, how does agnosticism play in all of this? Agnosticism doesn't mean, oh, I'm in the middle. It doesn't mean that. It just means that you think that we are far from knowing the truth of things. Like, agnostics are people that think that the knowledge about the supernatural, if there is one thing supernatural, like if there is such a thing as supernatural, it is outside of our understanding.
Okay.
Now, there are positive and negative atheists. That those are two other terms. One of them says, "Oh, I am 100% sure. I'm definitely sure that there is no God." The other ones say, "I don't know if there is a God. I just don't believe in a God right now, um, and I don't live with a religion. Therefore, I'm an atheist." So when I say I'm an atheist, there are people that would think, fuck you, like you don't like you you are against the idea of a God. You are against every evidence for God. You are against God. First of all, no, like I don't believe in a God. It's not that I am opposed to the idea of a God. It's not that I won't change my opinion if presented with evidence or sufficient conclusive evidence. So that's a wrong idea and a negative connotation that atheism, the word, is surrounded with. That atheists are ones who say, hey, do not believe in God because God is bad. No. Like, for example, me, I am an atheist agnostic because I don't think that if there is a God, we would understand it. I mean, the definition of God, which, by the way, seems like we made it up ourselves. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
But
that's what I'm thinking.
the definition of God is outside of our understanding, of course, even though it seems like we made it. But that's why I'm agnostic. If there is such a thing as something bigger than us, it's outside of our understanding. Um, but do I believe in a God? Is there sufficient evidence for me and my brain and my consciousness for me to believe in a God? No. So I'm an atheist. I don't live a religious life or a spiritual life. Um, Even though witches might say I am a witch because I do stuff that they find witchy and magical when in reality it's just science. Um, Maybe, but still, I'm an atheist. So, people that are watching, welcome. Like, there are so many people that have talked to me who say, "Oh, an agnostic. I'm an agnostic. I'm not an atheist. Shut the fuck up. Like, don't say that to me. I'm not an atheist. I know I'm not an atheist." When talking about like in philosophical terms, you are an atheist if you don't have atheistic concept of God reigning in your life. Like if you don't let your life be controlled by your religion and a God, you are an atheist. There's no such thing as being an agnostic alone. Like you can, tú no puedes ser un agnóstico y punto, ¿me entiende? You are either a theist agnostic or an atheist agnostic, or an atheist pelao, or a theist pelao. You can be a religious theist, a religious atheist agnostic, a religious atheist, I'm sorry, or you can be a spiritual theist, a spiritual atheist, a spiritual atheist agnostic. Oh, and by the way, theists can also be agnostics, okay? Theists can decide to genuinely believe in a God, but at the same time think that the whole nature of that God is outside of their understanding. And it doesn't contradict the definition. Like they are still theists, agnostics. Um, so yeah, agnostics is more like an adjective um, to describe the noun of theist, atheist, you know.
Okay.
I think, yeah, that's what I've learned. By the way, I'm not like inventing this. This actually is from, if you go to philosophy of religion classes, you're gonna, yeah, or if you buy textbooks about philosophy of religion, um, yeah, you're gonna learn that there's no such thing as an agnostic alone.
That's good. I like that. Just I was like, man, that's good. I don't know. It's interesting. It's a lot of things to like think about and kind of self-identify as like even for myself or like for anybody. If people are watching that maybe have these questions and they're exploring their their religious beliefs or like well, whoever they want to be. I think that that's interesting. And I want to ask you like one last question because I know people might be watching this and also they might have the same experience that you had.
Mhm.
And maybe they're like, I don't want to be in this religion anymore. How do I begin this? Like, can you maybe tell us like your experience of how it's been and how what would you recommend to people that maybe they just they don't want to be in this religion anymore and how should they do this? How should they go with like how should they go about it? And what do you recommend?
Oh my God, like I like so emotions. I'm feeling so much emotions, because like I started a blog right after I accepted that I didn't believe in God. I started a blog about um the Bible, explaining like why it didn't make any sense chapter by chapter. I don't know if you if you knew about that, right? Or if you
Uh-huh.
read something from that blog. I
Yeah,
hope
you
not.
sent me like a
It's
post. I
so
remember
crazy. um,
that.
but the reason I made that or wrote that, created that, was to um, make people that were in the same boat as me feel like, hey, it's okay to be curious, and it's okay to like find no sense in this. Like it's okay to feel bad about questioning the Bible. It's okay. Like it's fine. It's normal. Like we're all um going through this. By the way, the things that I've been mentioning, like the books and the classes that I talked about, I'm gonna give you like a list of actual like resources and
Okay.
uh, references, so that people won't say like, oh, you're
Okay. No.
te estás sacando cosas de la manga, ¿me entiendes? Like,
No, no. Just go check out the description and right below.
yeah,
You can check it out. Just
um,
go read
but
your research. Go ahead.
so the first thing I think is to accept that, I mean, maybe you're questioning and maybe you will come back to your uh theistic belief, because when I was losing my faith, I remember trying desperately to get it back. And that's fine. Like, if you want to try it and get it back, okay, do that. I remember that I tried to do that like every single day, trying to find testimonies, trying to find different interpretations of the Bible that made sense to me, so that I could say, wow, finally, my faith is back. That's okay. But if you're like me and you're a curious bitch like me, like it won't happen. It won't. But take your time, of course. Take your time. It's a traumatic event, like feeling that your um identity is being stripped away. Like it sounds very extreme for someone that has not been in the same place as me, but it's like if like your body was being stripped away, because your whole definition of even your body, like when I was growing up, I um identified my body with a temple. Like I was like, oh, God lives in me. The Holy Spirit lives in me. I am the house of the Holy Spirit. And at that time, I was like, wait, like my body is mine. It's mine. Like I am the only person that lives here in my mind. That's so crazy. So of course it's like you feel like your whole world is crashing down. Um, so yeah, I would try to accept that you're losing faith. That's step one. If you want to try and recover it, do it. If you recovered your faith, that's fine. I'm so happy for you. I know it's like a relief. It would have been a relief for me. um, and yeah, and that's if you genuinely recover it. If you recover it not genuinely and you actually have doubts while you like return to religion, that's a red flag right there. And it's probably because you're scared of what might happen if you go out of your religion, or if you accept you don't have faith. What to do to accept that you don't have the faith? Reach out to people like me. You're gonna leave my social media in the description box. So
Mhm.
reach out to people like me who have, like, again, I wanted to be a pastor. Like I was really ingrained in religion, and if I can get out of there, anyone can, honestly. Um, so yeah, reach out to people like me so that you understand how the process works. so that you can understand that it is possible to live without a God, or without the idea of a God. You have to heal so many emotional problems that religion gave you. For example, feeling that you cannot do things for yourself. Like, as a child, I used to fast for 6 hours, um, fast from food and liquids, so that God would help me with my grades. Okay, that's literally what I did before every semester.
Wow.
Um, so what do I want to bring with this? I want to say that, like, I literally did things thinking that God helped me do them. So I was like, wait, if I don't believe in God anymore, who is gonna make my life? Like, who's gonna help me create my life, create my grades, create my career? Who? If I have been fasting for my entire life before every academic year, so that God might like help me. But guess what? When I finished like fasting, when I stopped doing that, I get better grades. I got better grades than ever before. So that was really funny. But anyways, like, yeah, like you are allowed to feel that it doesn't make sense to not have a God, because you have been your entire life doing things that with the help of this idea of God. But if you reach out to people like me who have like strayed away from religion, you're gonna see that it is possible. Like, we are our own gods per se. Like, we can do stuff by ourselves. Um, then you would have to work with the family problems, and that's fine because I am working on them too. My family thinks I'm going to hell. Maybe that Satan is doing some work on me. And I don't say that sarcastically. Sadly, I wish, but I'm not saying that sarcastically. Because, they think that every doubt that people might have is caused by Satan. Um, so, yeah, your family will pray for you. If you say that you don't believe anymore, you have to deal with that. You have to deal with an increased exposure to religion, because your family would try to convert you back, and that's what my family tried to do. So whenever you feel ready to tell your family members, if your family members are religious, that you don't believe anymore, you have to be ready. You have to have like a tough mental state whenever you do that, because you're going to be bombarded by the exact same thing that caused trauma, um, but with resources, like people that have suffered the same things, and that have gone through that, is the perfect way to handle those things. um, so read a lot, please. Like, there's no worse thing than an atheist who says they're an atheist but doesn't know why they're an atheist. Same with the theist. Like, you can be a theist, but I won't admire you if you're a theist and don't know why you're a theist. Like, you have to give me reasons. And if you decide you don't believe in God, just don't think you believe in God because it doesn't make sense. Explain why it doesn't make sense. Read about why it doesn't make sense. Think about why it all doesn't make sense to you. um think about the arguments for God's existence. Think about the arguments against God's existence. Educate yourself about atheism and about anything in general that might give you knowledge about everything that has been discussed in history about God, theism, Gnosticism, anything at all about it. So that when people ask you, because they will ask you, why are you such a sinner? why are you an atheist? You should give them, um, you shouldn't give them the benefit of the doubt, and you should stand your ground and say why it is that you don't believe in God. Which I didn't talk about about that in this video. We should definitely make another video about it.
Yes,
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
my advice. That's my advice. And there are tons of things that I could keep on like giving advice for, and saying like, oh, do this, do that, because I didn't do that, and I wish someone would have told me to do blah 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 blah. But yeah, I don't have um much
Mhm.
time left.
That's good. You're doing good, and I love all the advices that you said, and I hope people like follow what you said, and maybe people can contact you for any advice or any help. Or, like, please, you can reach out to her. People like you said, people like you, they're going through the same things. I think it's something we should help each other out. I think no, I don't know. This is great. This is like a super beautiful conversation that we had. I think this is we touched on a lot of things. Like I told you, we're going through like a lot of things. We're gonna jump through a lot of hoops. Like we did a lot of things, and this is great. And I hope you people enjoyed it. I hope you people are not mad at us. Like please, please, drop your opinions in the comments below, respectfully, please. If you disagree, tell us why. If you agree with us, tell us why. Just please, no hate, please. Go ahead. Sorry.
Um, like I raised my hand as if this were a classroom. But I was like, what I wanted to say is that whenever I talk about these things, I don't want people to change their minds. That's not my purpose. I want people to be curious. That's the only thing that I want. People
Yeah.
to ask questions, and that's fine. Like I literally do not care if I make people change opinions. That's not. I don't like that. Um, I like when people ask about things. I love it. I love curious people. And that's what I wish to instill in people. By the way, you
Mhm.
asked, where are you now? So right now, I'm, of course, like 2 years later after I realized I was an atheist, I still keep educating myself about atheism. I know basically, I mean, it's not like I know nothing, but like knowing how much I don't know, I know nothing. Like I still have a whole entire life to learn about atheism and about what it means to be alive and to exist and to not feel like I have to give the responsibility to a god. It's a crazy thing. But yeah, I'm still learning about it. And actually, the um, it doesn't mean that I'm not learning about other religions. I still am. Actually, I would love to do a double major in sociology of religion, um, and I'm planning to do research about it, about different religions at college. Um, I'm I read about books that try to convert atheists to religions. Like, don't just don't just be like a lot of theists who read their own material. Read material from both sides, please, please.
That's good
There's
advice.
again, there's no worse thing than like a person who stands for something when they haven't even tried the thing that the other side stands for. You have to read from both sides, if you want to be fair, right? So right now I'm reading with a friend of mine, The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel. Oh God, it's
Okay.
like such a horrible book. Like I disagree with everything in it, and I'm sorry, but it's so shitty. But still, I want to read it because why? Because it's what theists are reading and are saying, "Wow, this is such a great piece of enlightening material," you know. So I have to know what they think is smart, intelligent, thoughtful, enlightening, so I can understand them. So yeah, we're like doing study sessions on that book. So yeah, like it doesn't saying I'm an atheist doesn't mean that I don't educate myself about the other side. You have to do that too.
Okay. But- and that's I think it's very fair because you have to see both sides of the coin and base your opinions off of that and why you believe in that stuff. So I think you're doing very good. I love what you're doing. I love all the research that you're doing. I love all the things that you're finding and still learning and growing from. And that's the point of this episode as well. I want people. It's not. I not only just want to base our opinions on religion, but also I want people to discuss and be part of the discussion and what do they think. And it's not about changing opinions. It's just like why you think like that, and if you change your opinion, why? Like, just please let us know. I think this is a great conversation to have, and we'll probably have another conversation, another episode in the future. I think would be kind of cool. So I don't know. This is great. We covered a lot of stuff. It was great. We went through a lot of things, and it was awesome. I really enjoyed this, people. So like, please, those are the comments. What you think? Like, what are your opinions on the subject? Something that we didn't mention. I don't know. Let us know, and we will definitely reach out and talk to you and have a discussion. So, Koki, please, thank you for being here and having this conversation with me in this episode. It was again beautiful. I really enjoyed it. So, I don't know, is there anything that you want to plug? People to follow you? I guess I'll still put in the description like you said, but anything like people want to follow you, like let people know.
Thanks for having me. And you don't have to thank me. Like this is like a therapy for me to talk about this. My Facebook is Cookie Apito, and my Instagram is cookie.apito. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. It's kind of a therapy too. I learn a lot of things. I feel super like I don't know. I feel good. It was like wow, this is awesome. I like having these.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
so refreshing, you know.
yeah.
I grew up with people that I couldn't talk about these things with. So now
Uh,
that I'm out of it, like I can talk about it anything like
yeah.
I want. So it's really refreshing.
No, it was it was a great experience. I really love this episode, and I hope you guys love this episode too. So please, if you like kind of this content or you want something different, then in my channel there's a lot of stuff, very wide variety of things you can watch. So please give this video a like, share, and subscribe to people. Talk about this topic with your friends and family, and see where it goes with discussion. So again, please give it a like, share, subscribe. So again, thank you, Coquito, for or Cookie for being here. Coquito, what the fuck? I want to drink apparently. What the hell, Cookie? Thank you for being here. This is awesome. This is great. So thank you guys for watching and stay tuned for the next episode. She will be back for another episode. I think we're gonna talk about. We want to talk about wormholes. We want to talk about that next time or space stuff.
No, I don't think I know like enough about physics to actually talk about it. Like we were just
We'll
talking
think about
about wormholes once because, just because.
it. Yeah.
But yeah.
We'll talk about that. We'll figure out the next topic. But also, if you guys want to like give us a suggestion for a topic I want to talk about with her or whoever, let me know in the comments as well. So again, thank you guys for watching. Mi nombre es Sebastián Sierra. Ella es Coquiapito. Nos seguiremos aquí.